Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today, I just want to quickly go over how to check the oil on your Honda Grom, what kind of oil to put in, and also some of the things that I recommend you have around to make the job a little easier. Okay, so first of all, everything I'm going to tell you is actually covered in the owner's manual. So on page 112, it will tell you the kind of oil you want to put in. Recommended oil right here, SAE 10W30, and they tell you not to use like efficient oil or whatever that is. I've never actually seen that. And then on page 57, it'll tell you how to check the oil level. Now, it seems like the easiest thing in the world. Any idiot should know how to check their oil, but it's actually, without knowing, on a small motor like this, okay, it's actually a little tricky for some reason. So let me tell you why. Okay, there's only 1 quart of oil in this motor. That's very little oil. And the problem is, if you overfill your oil in most motors by, let's say, a tenth of a quart or something like that, it probably won't matter that much. But a tenth of a quart in this motor is actually a big deal. That's 10% more oil than you need. Now, this is your measuring stick, obviously, so you just unscrew that. And let me show you what this looks like and why you might fall for a little bit of a trick, which a lot of people do. So there is some letters here. Basically says PA66, and there's 2 arrows pointing to each other. And it almost looks like the word pass or something. And I've heard people say that they got tricked by thinking that the oil had to be between these 2 arrows. And it doesn't. The oil literally needs to be between here and here. Well, actually this little mark and this little mark. That's a really tough thing to do when you're filling oil, because a tiny bit of oil can take you from here to here. So you just want to be super careful you don't go over. Now, what if you're over here? That's probably, oh, let me make sure I'm focused. What if you're over here? That's probably fine. But if you're over here, that is not fine. Why is it not fine? Okay, so when you have too little oil, we all know what the problem with that is. You don't have enough lubrication in your motor, and that can cause damage. But if you have too much oil, then the oil is like sitting up here where it's not supposed to, and on the other side, the cam's basically just battering the oil. So it's think of it as like a mixer that's mixing the oil really fast at 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe up to 7,000 RPM, okay? And the oil can get seriously battered, and it can develop little bubbles in it. In addition to that, you can get oil that flows up because of all the commotion, oil that flows up into going back into your air breather hose, and that can actually pull into like the carburetor or your fuel system. So now you got oil in all these places, and you'll start burning oil. And there will be oil essentially going through, components where it's not supposed to be, and you'll start burning oil, and you'll see a lot of white smoke coming out of the pipes and whatnot. So that's why you don't want too much oil. The tool that I use is essentially this big funnel that I purchased from Harbor Freight, I think for just a couple of bucks. Pretty sure this was from Harbor Freight. Or it could have been from Amazon, I'm not sure. I'll find one for you guys and leave it in the description. But you want a nice long funnel, makes your job a lot easier. You just place it in here, and then that, let's see, that essentially removes any chance of you making a mess. Once you're done putting in your oil, you're gonna wanna check the oil. Now, there is some controversy, which is very easily cleared up by referring to your owner's manual. The owner's manual does say that, you run the motor. First of all, the bike needs to be upright, okay? It can't be on the kickstand. You're gonna get a wrong reading on the kickstand. Essentially, you run the motor for a couple of minutes, maybe 5 minutes, then you turn it off, you wait a couple minutes, okay? So now the oil's really warm and it's settled, okay? That's the true place where the oil really is. So what you do then is you unscrew this cap and you take it out, and you just clean it up real nice with a clean rag. Make sure your rag is clean, and it's the kind that doesn't burr, where because you don't want to take any of these like a normal paper towel would maybe leave some burrs here, and you don't want to put that back in your motor, but you know, self-explanatory. Then what you do is you take this guy and you put it back in, but you don't screw it in. You just put the cap in and then you remove it. And that's what you want, is you want the oil level to be inside this area here. Now, you know, it's black, and you know, the stick is black and the oil, it's really tough to read. Mine's actually a tad bit high. It's just past that line, and it's okay. But that's how you check your oil. This is a 5 quart, so you can change your oil 5 times with this thing. So it may be a little overkill, but you know, 1 quart of oil is all you should need to change your oil in the Grom. And if you want to change your oil, essentially the only addition you have to do to this whole process is there's a drain plug down here. So essentially you undo this guy on the right side of the bike. Now you may get tricked into opening this other bolt on this other side. That is not it's this guy on this side. Number 17 does it for me. And what I've got is I've got one of these oil change pans that you can buy. They're really super convenient, and they got little plugs so that you can go and drain them at your local oil depository or whatever you can find local to you. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or think I did something incorrectly, or you have a better way of doing something, let me know in the comments, and click subscribe, and tune in next time for more motorcycle and or Grom videos.